Hi, Mama. How are you?
I'm doing very well. It's a beautiful day in Kenya, East Africa. I'm having a lovely time.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. This is our first live. Are you excited or what?
I'm very excited in as far as where Baba Mungu is taking his children.
Yes.
We're leveling up.
That's right. That's right. So Mama, how do you know if you're dealing with someone who has the spirit of Baba Mungu or not?
How do I know personally?
Yes.
Your spirit confirms another person's spirit. So when you walk in discernment and you pray and ask for discernment, your spirit becomes very sensitive to those who are not sent from Baba Mungu. And that's how you know. You have to be on top of your prayer life, your connection with him, your connection with your ancestors, because they will not allow you to be tricked or fooled. So I'm always testing the spirits. If it's sent from him, I will know. And if it's not sent from him, I will get a check in my spirit that something's not right. There's no peace on me. So when the Bible says, let the peace of Mama Bungo rule your heart and your mind, that is very important to understand. Because not everyone that comes alongside of us is for us. That's why we have to test the spirit. Because we are spiritual beings having a human experience.
Yes, yes, yes. This is wonderful. Wonderful. And it can be tricky, you know? So how do you know when how do you know when they are not of the Father?
You say one question to the Father, show me. And he will show you the instantly you ask him to show me the heart of this person. If this person is not from you, show me. Because you see, we should always be in communication with our Father. We should be always in communication. We talk to him 24/7. That means he talks to us while we're asleep, and we talk to him while we're awake. So you can always do a truth check. You ask the Father, is he from you? Is she from you? And the Father will instantly drop in your spirit the answer.
That's right. That's right. Wow. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Yes. You know, it's
I have a question really quick before you go on. Do you remember, may I ask the question?
yes, Mama, yes, of course.
Not getting off subject. How many times in your life that you have said, something told me not to go that way? Something told me not to do that. You know, something told me. Have you ever experienced that?
Yes, of course. All the time.
Well, guess who the something was?
The spirit. The spirit of Baba
The
Mungu.
spirit. We are spiritual beings. That means we are in contact with Baba Mungu in the spiritual realm, whether we're obedient or whether we are disobedient. We still have that spiritual connection to our Father.
Yes.
So I no longer say something. He has taught me over the years to identify that something. He said, I'm not a something.
Yes.
And when you identify that he walks with you at all times, awoke or sleep, so above, so beneath. We have a constant relationship with our Father. He's always training us, teaching us. If we want to know, he will tell us.
Yes. 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 Now, one second, Mama. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Welcome, family. Welcome, 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 welcome to Muntu na Bantu. This is Mind Theorist, and I'm your host, Silverback KONGO. As you will notice, family, that this is actually a very different look, but this is where I personally would be bringing to you visuals. Yes, visuals. Okay, to keep it exciting. So pretty much today, family, I will be. I have a guest, and some of you already know the guest. No surprises. But before I bring her on, before I bring Mama Bantu on, I want to give you guys a message. Okay? This is actually before I bring Mama Bantu on, I'm gonna say a few words, my thoughts. Okay? So let's go ahead. Obviously, it's new technology, a few things that I'm not accustomed to. So we're doing this live. As what's his name again? Yeah, we're doing this live. And most of you were not invited, but if you are a subscriber, you would most likely see that we are live. Okay, we are live. But my thoughts, family, I have a few thoughts as it regards the Bantu, the family. There is so much things that are taking place on today. So many things that's taking place in our neighborhoods, in our communities, in our respective parts of the world, whether you are on a continent or you are in the Americas or you in Europe, wherever there are Bantus, we are a people who have been scattered all over the world. So it's important for us, family, to be a people that desire, if you're desiring to come back home, to go back home, okay? I'm in the States, but my desire is actually to go back home. My desire is to be with my people. Now, in order for me to go back home and to be with my people, I have to prepare my mind. Okay? I have to prepare my mind. I have to, I was born on a continent, so I know how it was. I know certain things. I know certain practices because I was raised by a father who's from the Congo and a mother from the Congo. So I know certain expectations, what is expected of me. Okay? What about those who were not born on a continent? What about those who all their lives, all they have known is the ways of the European? What about those people? How do they return back home? How do they, if they don't have a desire, obviously for those who have a desire, they are home right now. There are many people returning back home. But even those who have returned back home, how are they, how do you say when you return back home? How are they getting along with the natives? Okay? And also the natives, there are many people on a continent, though they were born there on a continent, their way of thinking is still not African. Many of them aspire to be an Englishman, a Frenchman, even Arabs. Okay? They don't aspire to be African. Okay, family? So we have to be on code, as our African American brothers would say. We've got to get back to the traditions of our ancestors. Okay? If that means to be on code, that's what it means. To return back to our traditions. This way we will be on code. This way we can be a unified people, one in spirit, as Mama Bantu was just talking to us momentarily. Okay? So let me go ahead. I've got a scripture, family. I've got a scripture. Okay? The scripture is 1 Corinthians. Let me look it up for you, family. Let me bring it up. Follow me, follow along. 1 Corinthians chapter 2. Okay, chapter 2. And it says, I'm going to start at verse 6. We do, however, speak a message of wisdom among the mature, but not the wisdom of this age or of the rulers of this age who are coming to nothing. Okay? The rulers of this age, those who write you legislation, those who tell you the law of the world, not the laws of Baba Mungu, but the laws of this world. Those people, though that system is coming to nothing. Okay? It's coming to nothing. No, Paul says, we declare Baba Mungu's wisdom, a mystery that has been hidden and that Baba Mungu destined for our glory before time began. None of the rulers of this age understood it, for if they had, they would not have crucified Bwana of glory. However, as it is written, what no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, what no human mind has conceived, the things Baba Mungu has prepared for those who love him. These are the things Baba Mungu has revealed to us by his spirit. Now, this is very, very important, family, because I asked Mama Bantu moments ago I said, 1 second, family, 1 second. I started recording without, okay, hopefully I was supposed to record in the headphone, but I was recording on my speakers. So hopefully you guys heard everything I was saying and Mama Bantu heard everything I was saying. And it's no disruptions. I hope you guys can hear me. Okay, we're live. So now what's important here is this. These are the things Baba Mungu has revealed to us by his spirit. Okay, this is very important, by his spirit. Now, the Father tells us, the scripture tells us here, that the mysteries of Baba Mungu is being revealed, as Paul would say here, is being revealed through his spirit. Okay? And it says, the spirit searches all things, even the deep things of Baba Mungu. So the spirit, that's one with the Father, Okay? The Father knows very, very well how to communicate with the Spirit. We are the children here on earth. We have a hard time understanding, deciphering between spiritual things and physical things. Okay? We're the ones who don't understand. But I want you to understand that there is the soul and then there is the spirit. So think of the soul as the vessel that you are, that's here in the physical. And then there's a spirit, more like your hardware and software. Okay? Software runs the hardware. Okay, family? So I hope that's clear. But that's what it's like. Okay? But at the same time, the software and the hardware are conscious of each other. The hardware, excuse me, it's aware that it's hardware, and the software, it's aware that it's spirit, and they're communicating with one another. Okay, so the spirit searches all things, even the deep things of Baba Mungu. Baba Mungu gives it permission to do so. Okay? For who knows a person's thoughts except their own spirit within them? In the same way, no one knows the thoughts of Baba Mungu except the spirit of Baba Mungu. Okay, family? What we have received is not the spirit of the world. Okay, so that would be anything. Now, Paul is saying, what Paul is saying is that we have the spirit of Baba Mungu, we have the software, we have the information that comes directly from the Father. So that chief spirit that evaluates, that examines the Father has also has allowed that chief spirit, okay, put it this way, and has allowed the spirit to also, think of it this way, the spirit multiplied itself and then it went to everyone that belongs to the Father. Okay? Everyone that the Father destined before time to be his child, that spirit goes out and it's within that person. Okay, so it's like when you think of being baptized, so think of it as that the spirit came upon you because you belong to the Father. You're part of the Father. And it's going to give you all the information that the Father would like for you to know. Okay, and then it will also give you all the information that you should be aware of that is not of the Father. All right. So when a person who's filled with the spirit of Baba Mungu, when you come in contact with a person who is not of the Father, if you have the spirit of the Father, you will know that this individual that's before you does not belong to the Father. Danger, danger, danger. Be alert. Okay, because it says the same spirit of that belongs to the Father, the same spirit that examines the Father, even the deep things of the Father, that spirit will do the same thing to you. Okay, it will do the same thing to you. It's going to examine you. And if anything that does not belong within you, this is the part where you says, I now must repent. You now have to say, if you are a child of the Most High, you now have to say, I have to change my ways. If it is not from the Father, you've got to get rid of it. You have to remove it from you. You have to disconnect yourself from it. His friends, if his wicked thoughts, if wicked practices, remove yourself from it. Okay? Because that spirit, if you are a child of the Father, that spirit is like a witness that's going to testify before the Father and say, hey, this person was given these many chances. He knows the good that he ought to do, but he's refusing to do them. You now become rebellious. Okay, family? So, very, very important. Let's understand this spirit. Okay, the spirit of truth. The spirit that convicts your thoughts, convicts your behavior, the things that you do that you're not supposed to do, it convicts you. All right? So there it goes now. Let's look further. Excuse me. It says, what we have received is not the spirit of the world, but the spirit who is from Baba Mungu, so that we may understand what Baba Mungu has freely given us. Has freely given us. Okay? So you know your rights as a child. There's no deception. You know your rights. When you go and call, when you do your prayers, you know your rights. You know your rights as a child of Baba Mungu. Okay? The Father is not deceptive. He doesn't trick. What the Father does, he deals with the pure. He deals with truth. Okay? Verses 13. This is what we speak, not in words taught us by human wisdom, but in words taught by the Spirit, explaining spiritual realities with spiritual thought words. This is why I like the NIV version of the Bible, because it lays things in today's lexicon, today's way of speaking. Okay? The person without the Spirit does not accept the things that come from the Spirit of Baba Mungu. So this is when you know you're dealing with rebellious spirits, because when they start to behave unrighteously, you know they don't have the Spirit of the Father. When they're living a certain way, that's not in accordance to the ways of your Father. Even if you never saw the quote-unquote Bible, this Bible. Okay? There are many people who live righteously before the Father without the instructions of the Bible, because they have the Spirit of the Father in them. Okay? Let me go further. The person without the Spirit does not accept the things that come from the Spirit of Baba Mungu, but considers them foolishness and cannot understand them because they are discerned only through the Spirit. Okay? The person with the Spirit makes judgment about all things. Okay? Very, very important, family. Very, very important. Now, I had a situation with a friend, and I said something to them, and they were concerned. It bothered them. But guess what? She was correct. That person said, I was happy that they brought it back to me, which was very important. But they were concerned, and they brought it to me, to my attention, and I'd answer to them. Okay? But as a person who is filled with the Spirit, they make judgment. So when somebody says, "Oh, don't judge me, only the Father can," yeah, that is correct. Only the Father can. But also, that child of the Father, the child of the Father who has the Spirit of the Father, makes judgment of all things, because the Spirit that's in them evaluates them. Okay? They don't stand in judgment of any worldly human being. Even the laws that is written by man, they don't stand in judgment in those. This is when a person is being persecuted because they have strong spiritual practices that comes from the Father. I don't want to say the word belief. Okay, that's foolishness. People who have practices. Okay, you can only believe something when you have done it. So yes, if a person says this is their beliefs, okay, no problem. It means they have a way that they live a life a certain way that's ritualistic, that they do every day. Okay, you don't believe that you're gonna get paid at the end at the end of the week. You know you're gonna get paid because you've done work. Okay, so you believe that you're gonna get paid by Friday because that's an agreement that you made with your boss. All right, you believe based on the agreement. It's the same thing here. We believe because the Spirit gives us the information, and we know our rights as children of Tatanzambi, because we are being we're being examined in real time. You make judgment in real time, right? You decipher, you discern things in real time. You just don't believe everything. You just, it's not like, no, everything has to be judged. You judge everything. You discern everything in real time. Okay? So this family, this is my thoughts. Okay, this is my warning to the Bantu, to those who call themselves the children of Baba Mungu, those who live and practice our spiritual science on a daily basis. This is my warning to you. Yes, you have the right to judge every individual that comes in contact with you. You judge everyone. Now, if they are a child of Tatanzambi, they would understand that. They have to understand that. Okay, because we all can be deceived. We all can fall under a delusion if our hearts is not in the right place. Okay, family? So now let me bring in Mama Bantu. Give me a second, family. Where is it? Sorry, family. There's a few things that I also have to learn myself. Mama Bantu, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, excellent, excellent, excellent. Welcome, Mama. So now you can visually see everything that I usually do on my end, right, Mama? So usually when we record,
Absolutely.
we pre-record. You sound pretty far. Can you get near, Mama?
I can see everything, and everything is beautiful.
Yes, finally, right? Finally, because it's kind of hard to talk to you through transitions, right? So wonderful,
Yes.
wonderful, wonderful. So Mama, do you have any thoughts on what I've said?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. This is the time, not only the time of awakening, but we have to be retaught. The church has given us so many half-truths that we never made that connection as Bantu children, children of Baba Mungu. We never made that true spiritual connection with him.
Mm-hmm.
But these teachings, and now we're digging into the meat to find out exactly what these scriptures mean to us personally, not to the whole body of church. There's many called, few are chosen, and we are the chosen. So now we have to go back and re-examine the scriptures, as you say, so that we'll know how to not only understand, but walk uprightly, that we can make sure that our heart is pure before him. So good lesson, son. That was a good introduction. I really appreciated it.
Thank you, Mama. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Family, I'm yes, as you can see, family, it's kind of tricky to do things live, it's kind of tricky, right? It's kind of tricky, but I was hoping to actually do things, this is our first time, so I'm making a lot of mistakes in real time.
That's all right. It's the only way you can learn.
Yeah, and then eventually
we are on the job training.
Job training, real live. So you get to hear the
Wow.
mistakes, you know? Yes, yes, yes. So Mama, you know, we have a program today, and we family we laid out a program for you, and hopefully that we can actually come together and really. So basically, I did my uh, the advice, right? I provided my advice to the Bantu.
Yes.
Now let's talk about what I had just talked about as a community, Mama, right? Because as a community, we have to learn to come together, right? And that's the trick. That's the elephant in the room because the enemy has trained our people to, how can I say it? The enemy has trained our people to live life based on concepts, the concepts that they created. What do I mean? The concept of whiteness, the concept of blackness, the concept of the yellow man, Chinese, the concept of the Arab man, right? There are many concepts that the enemy has infiltrated within our system, our way of life, and introduced their concepts to us. Okay? And then our people, they eat up those concepts. They take on this concept where I'm West Indian. Okay, I'm Latino. I am European. All right, and everybody knows where a person falls within those concepts. If they lived in Europe for many years, and then when they go back to Africa, they expect certain things from their brothers, from their community, even if they were born. For me as an example, okay, just to be honest, Mama, when I return back to Congo, there's going to be certain things that I'm not going to be comfortable with any longer.
I do believe it.
Right?
Because you have been gone for so long.
Yes. There are things that I've gotten accustomed to. Okay? Now I don't hear very much from family members as far as lights going out too much, lights going out in the Congo, but I know there are parts where lights go out. Okay? Now, if you live in a different system, say up north, further up, if you're in Ghana, if you are in Nigeria, those places they have their system is where the electricity system is not even their own. So lights go out very often because we are adopting someone else's systems. Okay? We as a people, I'm using this example to just to show you that we are very divided as a people. And in order for us to come together as a people, to learn how to come together, we have to examine everything, the way people behave, the way people go day to day, how they do business, the way people have been taught academically, right? The way people, whatever their daily practice, whatever rituals that they do on a daily basis is who they are, right? Your day-to-day activity is really your day-to-day worship to the Father. Okay, family? That's just the way it is. So Mama, if you're there, and if you're there, please give me your 2 cents.
You're absolutely right, because a lot of us we are spoiled by the West, and we expect certain things to make our life comfortable. but you're coming into a different environment, different people. So when I first got to Africa, my mission was first to learn the culture. That means I have to know how the culture operates. So I sit back and I watch. I talk to people. The next thing that I knew I had to do is to learn the language so that I can communicate with the people on their level. So you learn the culture, you learn the language. The next thing I did was go about among the people, go out among the people. So I find myself downtown, I find myself at this shopping center, that shopping center, in this village, in another village, but I would always befriend the elders. Very important that we understand our elders, and the elders will teach you a lot. Most people, which is good, in Kenya speaks English. So you can sit down and have a conversation with an elder. I've sat down and had conversation with politicians, pastors, policemen, guards, school teachers, IT techs. So having the conversation, you learn not only the mental attitude of the local people, but they see, and people embrace anyone that wants to learn about them because people like to talk about themselves. So if you say, well, tell me about this village, and how does this village operate, and let me meet the chief, they are very anxious to embrace you because I let them know we have the same DNA, for one. We're all Africans, no matter where we're at around the world. An African is from Africa. And that's the main important topic that we start talking about. They say, oh, you're from America. Yeah, I'm from America. But guess what? My ancestors are from Africa. So we get a conversation as brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers as we are one people. That means that we are African people, whether we're in Brazil, America, the Bahamas, wherever we are today, we were stolen. And I make sure that I emphasize the word stolen from Africa. So we're on a journey, and I told a Mose this, an elder this. I am on a journey to come back to find out my roots from the people who lived it. I don't want the narrative of the white man in what you're teaching me. I want it to come from you. I want you to show me how it was, how it is, what should I expect? And they're so embracing to me because I want to know. I want to know my family. And I tell them, you're my family. I might come from across the ocean, but you're my family. And we laugh, we eat, we have a good time. And you find out that the African people are the same around the world. We laugh at the same things. We meet no strangers. We'll start a conversation with anyone. We all have jokes. We like to be silly, but we also are spiritual people.
That's right.
And you find that the culture in Africa, they still understand the spirituality of their existence. Whereas in the West is taken away or is diluted. But when you come to Africa and sit and talk with the African healers, the African prophets, they come from a line of generations of healers, generations of prophets, generations of priests. And so you listen, you talk, you get numbers, and you begin a relationship with your people.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to places where they're shocked that I come because they say Americans don't come down here and visit us and talk to us.
Wow.
But we are the same people. I try to tell them, yes, I'm a mama, I'm a grandmother, but we are the same people. So teach me what happened 400 years with you, and I will teach you what happened 400 years with me in America. So we talk history. We change stories. And a lot of Africans are shocked. They're shocked that the Africans went through so much when they were stolen from this land. They're shocked. They never heard of such. They just think America is a land of riches and everyone there is rich. And if I can just get to America, I'll be rich too. But when I start talking about the realities that we as Black people live in America, they are absolutely shocked. They don't understand. And I let them know the narrative that you're hearing is the same negative narrative that we hear about you.
Exactly.
That you still live in the jungle, you still swing from the trees. They start laughing. You still live in the jungle, you still live in the trees, you're not educated, you're ignorant. So this is the propaganda that's coming to us about you. And this is the propaganda that's coming to you about us. That's why we need to sit down, have a conversation, eat ungali. They teach me how to make their cuckoo, their chicken. So coming to Africa, you have to settle yourself down and say, I'm back home, but I need to learn about my people here. And I have hundreds of people that have embraced me in Africa. And the main thing that the older people say, and the middle-aged people say, they say, welcome home, mama. We're glad that you came home.
That's
welcome
right.
home, welcome home, welcome home. So it's a lot for us coming from the diaspora that we need to learn about our people. We just can't think we're going to come here and turn Africa into America. I know some Americans that have come here. They don't communicate with the people. They live high on the hog. They have transitioned America to Africa, and they go shopping. They have their parties. They're doing their thing, but they stay lumped in a group of people. What's the sense? I didn't come to Africa to step back into American culture and American lives and American holidays. I came to find out, for one thing, I was sent back. I didn't make up my mind, I'm just going to go home to Africa. Baba Mungu sent me back. He said, I'm going to send you to Kenya. He told me in a dream, he told me in a prophecy, I am going to send you. And when I got here, I said, I came to find my children. Now, of course, that wasn't me. Who said that through me? Who said that through me?
Baba
and I
Mungu.
understood what that voice inside of me said. I came to find my children. So whenever I meet my African people, I said, I came to find you. I met a 95-year-old lady. It was her 95th birthday. And one of the families that I met, they said, we want you to come to the village. I want you to meet my sush. And so they invited me. They came and picked me up. I went to the village. Met the whole family. It must have been around 50 people there because they came for her 95th birthday. So when I saw her, I kissed her on her cheek and I held her hand and I got very close to her. And I told her, and she speaks English, but she also speaks her native tongue. So she began to spit in my hand, and her grandson said, she's blessing you. So she put her hand on my head and she began to rub my hair back, and she was talking in her native tongue. And he said, my grandmother's blessing you. So I told Grandma Sush, and I got very close in her face, and I said, I came from America to find you. She began to cry. So she's crying, I'm crying, and I told her again, I came from America to find you, to find my family, and I found my family. And so her and I, we sat there for maybe 4 hours holding hands. One of her great grandsons, he put my chair very close to grandma, and she held my hand and I held her hand because I found you. I came here to find my family and I found you. So everyone in the room, of course, they're all Christians, but that doesn't bother me because I am an atmosphere changer.
That's right, Mama.
So that means when I step in a room, the atmosphere changes. I've been knowing that for a long time, but I am an atmosphere changer. So everyone, they all spoke English. So everyone, talked about how wonderful their grandmother was, their great grandmother was. She was always on her knees praying for everyone. She would be the one that fed everybody in the village, and they just admonished her. So my turn came. So everybody had their prayer. So my turn came to stand up and let everybody know why I came from America. So I told everyone in the room that I came from America to find my family, and I have found my family. You are my family. I am your lost child, and I'm home. So when my turn came to pray, I rocked the room. And I'm going to tell you how I rocked the room. Because I said, what do I say? What do I say? So instead of me praying out of my head, I prayed out of my spirit. I prayed out of my spirit, and so after my prayer, I was praying that Baba Mungu is gathering his children, and the lies of the enemy. They heard me say that the lies of the enemy will die among your people, and then we will turn back to your face. We will run to you as children. So I'm praying this prayer, and so after the prayer, my friend said, "We have never heard a prayer like that." And I did not end the prayer in Jesus' name on purpose. On purpose. Because not now. I have stepped on your ground, and I'm gonna tell you how this is going to go. So when I ended the prayer, calling out Baba Mungu's name and calling about Guy's name, because they all say Guy.
Yes, that's right.
So my friend, he said, "We will never be the same." We were shocked. Everybody was standing still. The tears started rolling down our eyes. There was 50 people in that room crying. Sush was crying. All the aunts and uncles was crying. The pastors and their family was crying. Because, see, here's the thing. When you have an appointment with destiny and you arrive, Baba Mungu does what he wanted to do through you. I had an appointment with destiny, and my destiny was to come back home and gather his children.
Yes, Mama.
I don't play church. So that's one of that is how you come home. You come home respecting your land, respecting the people, loving the people, pushing and encouraging the people, and helping where you can.
That's right.
Because it's not a game. When he transitions us back home to the motherland, to Africa, we're here to help. And I tell the young Africans, Kenyans, I said, you know what? The diaspora is coming. We're coming back home by the millions. And they get so happy. They say, "Oh, you're coming to help? We need our brothers and sisters from America to come to help us." Yeah, we're coming. You are the generation that will see the change in Africa, I tell them.
That's right.
And Baba Mungu is going to give us back Africa. Make no doubt about it. But right now, we're in a transitioning. We're relearning. We're understanding. We're taking baby steps right now. But there come a day where Africa will belong to the Africans.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right, family. That is right. Mama is truly, truly right. You know, there was a time when, let's take an example through history. When the English took over Hong Kong, right? When they took over Hong Kong, they got the people addicted to opium. They start growing opiums, right? Right?
Yeah.
They start growing opium to do two things: to take the drugs from the opium and to do business throughout the world. So opium went to all the Asian nations, okay, all the way to Japan, because that was the method that they used to destabilize the masculine energy within those nations. Okay? So they got people addicted to these drugs. They made money from it. Okay? And two, it was used to suppress, to suppress and oppress the people, to keep them destabilized, where they're not able to do for self. Okay? It was till when Chairman Mao Zedong, Chairman Mao, when he came into office,
Yes.
that was when transition took place, because what he did was he got rid of the English by kicking them out of Hong Kong and the mainland and throughout the mainland China. Okay? So when they did that, then they closed the borders. They didn't allow anyone to come and disrupt their nation. When they did that, when they kept away the parasitic entities, he was able to regroup the nation back to the ways of the way the ancestors were living. And China regrouped. But the outside, what they did, they demonized Chairman Mao Zedong. Okay? They demonized them. But that was a good thing that he did. That was a very, very good thing. And we have to understand, family. Go read. Go read. Go find out. Okay? Otherwise, these people, remember they say hurt people, right? Hurt people. I don't trust any other nation. I only trust Baba Mungu's people to rebuild the continent. So these leaders who are accepting money from the outside, I have my eyes on them. And I always ask the Father to disrupt them, to bring them to their knees. And anyone that goes along with them, they will be brought down. Okay? Anyone. So let's learn from the Chinese, family. Let's learn from the Chinese. We can only do for ourselves. No one is going to come and save us. The Father has already said He's given us the Spirit. We are capable of doing whatever is needed to be done. One, to glorify the Father by performing the miracles. As when He told Moses to throw the snake to display His powers to the Egyptian king. Okay? We have to display the powers of Baba Mungu. Anyone that comes against us, I implore you, family, for us to be one in spirit, so that when one is attacked, we will all gather to fight off, to fend off wicked entities. Okay? Very, very important, family. Now, I want to display this. What we're talking about us coming together. I'm working together with Mama Bantu. I should be working with everybody that I know. Okay? But everybody that I know, as the scripture says, will be tested. You should be able to test my spirit, and I will test your spirit. If we align, then Isaiah KONGO says, there he will be. Okay? When together, there I shall be. When we are together as individuals, if our spirit is one in accord, okay? If you're one in spirit, Isaiah KONGO, the spirit of truth, will be there. Okay, family? Very, very important. Very important. So I'm working with Mama Bantu in the spirit of unity so that the community can see and so that we can look at each other's talents. I'm looking for those who are talented to work together so that the community as a whole and the people as a whole throughout the four corners of this planet, we can come together. We should work together as individuals. So in the spirit of unity, I've invited Mama because Mama has a specific talent that I find very attractive. And these talents, well, put it this way. I'll let Mama speak for herself. Okay? So Mama yangu.
I'm here.
Yes. There's a side of you that most of our brothers and sisters do not know. And that is, you are a certified author. You're a published author.
A published author.
Yes.
Published.
Mm-hmm. So tell our brothers and sisters a little bit about yourself, Mama.
Well, I am a published author. I have 6 books on Amazon, working on my 7th, 8th, and 9th book. You had asked me a question yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
What inspired me to write? And how did I get into writing?
Yes.
I always knew that I could think of stories in my head, but never really put them down on paper until it started to gnaw at me that I'm going to write this down. So that's what I started doing. I started writing down my thoughts and the stories that was in my head, and never published it, just wrote them down. And I was amazed by the things that was coming out of me. I was amazed by being able to create a character and then become that character, and the other characters in the book transition from one character to the other character. I was amazed, and I'm thinking to myself, where is this coming from? So I published my first book in 2014. And it started just from a conversation. The conversation was, I asked one of my friends, one of my lady friends, I think she was a coworker, I don't remember, when's the last time she changed the oil? Well, of course, she had no idea what I was talking about. Change the oil, she said. Yeah, you got to change the oil. When's the last time you checked under the hood? What do I need to check under the hood for? Because there's fluids under the hood that needs to be not only checked, but maintained. And she said, oh, I didn't know that. So where did this come from? I had a car mechanic. My father was a part-time car mechanic. and he had many children. It was 11 or so all together, but the ages vary. So he would always have us out there helping him to pass the tools to him. And we will always ask him questions. What is this? What is that? What does this do? So I had that knowledge inside of me. So I thought to myself, I should write a book to women on how to maintain their cars. It's a very simple thing, because I'm thinking to myself that most women think that they're just supposed to put gas in the car and point the car where they want to go. Not realizing that this is a mechanical piece of, how do you say, manufacturing that needs to be maintained. So that's how I wrote my first book, and that's why I wrote my first book in 2014. And I, being an avid reader, I bought my Kindle, of course, and I would read all the latest prophets and preachers. They all were writing electronic books. And I thought, well, I wonder how you write electronic books. That's what dropped in my spirit. Well, I call YouTube University. So anything you want to know, you go to YouTube and ask. So I learned how to write an electronic book and how to publish it on Amazon. And that was the beginning of my journey. So I've since then, and most of my books are how-to books, how to maintain, how to health books, things like that. But my big books, it's taken me 3 or 4 years to write and complete the book. And one book that I almost completed that will go on sale probably in the next 6 months. It's a powerful book about the realities of life, and we'll get into that a little more. But that's how it all started. I told one of my children, not mention any names in case he's listening. I said, I think I'm gonna write a electronic book. And he said, Mom, you can't write an electronic book. You know the things that you have to know to write a book. And so he went on and on about why I could not. And I'm thinking to myself, well, and I just said, okay. But I said, well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to write this book so that my children will have an author in the family. That was my challenge. And he said I couldn't do it. And I said, before I leave this earth, I will be a published author. Even if it's how to cook spaghetti.
That's right.
I'm going to write and publish a book.
That's right, Mama.
So one thing led to another thing led to something else. And I began to have questions. When I have questions about something, I would do the research on it, revise it into a book, and publish it.
That's right.
So that's why and how I became an author. But what I learned along the way, that an author is born. You're born knowing how to. You might never put it in practice, but there's something down your lineage that did this. One of your ancestors did this. That's why it churns inside of you. That's why you have a knowing about certain things. But because our gift comes down generation after generation after generation after generation. So I wouldn't be surprised if one of my ancestors were record keepers, keeping records of the village of our existence. I would not be surprised, because this gift is so natural to me. It had to come from what? My ancestors.
That's right.
Because some things you can learn in school, but some things is given to you at birth. It's transitioned down to you at birth, and it belongs to you. That's why they're great writers. They're born with the gift. That's why they're great singers. They're born with the gift. I can't even keep a note. My son said, I can't carry a note across the street. Mom, you're out of tune. You're out of note. Well, I don't know how you do it, but I had to come to the realization that you're born with certain gifts. And the
right.
gifts that we're born with, the gifts that we're born with, we have to give those gifts away. We don't hold those gifts to ourselves. We give those gifts away because the gifts are always put inside of us for other people, not for us.
Right.
I hope that wasn't a long explanation.
That was wonderful, Mama. That was very, very, very good. Well said. Family, the Mama, as she said for herself, she is a published author. And initially, I did not know until she told me. And I was like, wait a minute here. You've got talents that you're hiding, you know? So family, there are many of us, especially in that chat room that we know of, Mama. There are many of us. And my intention is to work with everyone. Everyone. Okay? That's my intention. My intention, and most people do not know this. Okay? That's my mission, family. Okay? Everybody has a purpose in life. But my purpose in life has always been about Baba Mungu's children. Ever since I was a child. Okay? So, yes, I ran away from that purpose, but you can never run away from Baba Mungu's purpose. You can run, he's going to keep putting you in situations until you do what you were called to do.
Yes, absolutely.
There are many of us with our talent. Instead of utilizing the talents to glorify the Father, we want to live as the world tells us to live. Okay? So there's going to be conflict. Literally, I had a vision. Literally. Okay? Not going to say what it is, but to those Baba Mungus bring before me, Mama Bantu knows, I reveal them to them. My mission. Okay? The vision that I had directly from the Father. So yes, family, everybody has a purpose. How you live your life is how you worship the Father. That's the way it goes. It's not about you going to a church, okay? And then performing in a church. That's not the way we worshiped our Father. That's not the way we worshiped. Okay? Our day-to-day activities, it either glorify the Father or it dishonored. But that's the way, family. So yes, my intention is to work with everybody. And most of you, I've come to you. You know who you are. I've come to you and I've said, and most of these leaders, I've come to them. I presented certain things to them. Okay? But Tata Nzambi is going to reveal, is going to show. Okay? We are going to, if you claim to be a child of Tata Nzambi, if you notice, when Isaiah KONGO came, what did he do? He gathered his disciples. He gathered those who were called to be a part of his life. Just don't call it ministry. Because in certain terms, it's just foolish. Okay? He came to those who were scattered. He came to them so they can recognize who he is. Those who recognize who he was, his divinity, became a part of his life. Those who were not a part of his life, they revealed themselves. He didn't include them to them. He didn't include them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So family, the way we can get back to the Father, one, Tata Nzambi is about his people. Those of you who preach the Bible to people, that's the false way of worshiping the Father. That's the false way of connecting with the Baba Mungu's people. Not everyone belongs to Isolele. Not everyone is a Muntu. Okay? Not everyone. So yes, I'm giving an example here, family. This is my ministry, which is what? Example. If you want to call it ministry, call it a ministry. But this is how we work as a people. We have to work together. We can't become parasitic towards one another. We can't be using one another. It can't be one way. My way, my way, my way, my way. Okay? Mama Bantu and I did a video earlier about the true church, how a church ought to be, right? Watch that video because it's very, very specific. It's very, very specific. When we gather as Baba Muntu's people, we're supposed to be coming together with all of our talents, with all your giftings, and we're supposed to share it equally. No one should be in need of anything. You see, when you come together and you claim to be the people of Baba Mungu, we're going to hold you accountable. And you're going to hold the group accountable. Okay? It's not about one individual. It's about the collective. So if you want to play church, there are rules. There are rules to that game, to that structure, to that structure of quote unquote church. If you want to play church, yes, there are rules. But anyway, Mama Bantu she has a specific talent, and this talent is very, very important. So I have a few questions, okay, Mama, and then we're gonna close. We're gonna have our final thoughts and a closing.
Okay.
I have a few questions, Mama, with your gift. And by the way, family, we're gonna be doing a series of this where Mama Bantu will talk about. We're gonna go through all of her books. Yes. We're going to promote all of her books. And we're going to feature all of her books. Okay, family? The goal is what? For you to connect with Mama Bantu. For you also to come up here and display your gifts. Show out your gifts. Connect with other like spirits. Okay? Being a Muntu is not about just going to the continent and say, oh, I went to the continent, so I am. No. You can be a Muntu wherever you are. Then you can come to the gathering. Okay? But you have to be a Muntu first, wherever you are. Learn what embodies the spirit of Baba Mungu, right? What the characteristics of Baba Mungu. Learn about, ask the Father to reveal himself to you or her. Okay? Ask the Father to know the ways that we are supposed to live for the Father. And then when you take on that spirit, when you meet another Muntu, it will be obvious. Okay? It will be obvious. But Mama, first question I have is, who inspired you to begin writing? Who inspired you to begin writing?
Who inspired me to begin writing was the friend that I told you about that didn't know anything about maintaining a car. And I've always, in my walk, I've always helped people. So I thought, okay, well, let me not only help her, but let me help other women that are in this situation. My dad taught my mom how to maintain her car. And we grew up in Philadelphia, and if the car would break down, she would call him and he would tell her, check this, check that, did you check this, did you check that? And so that was always inside of me. So what inspired me is, how many people can I help if I start writing how-to books? So the inspiration came from a need inside of me, a natural need inside of me to help people. I've always been a helper of people. I've always saved people out of situation. I've always given advice to people to help them to steer them in the right direction. So I said, well, since I read electronic books, why don't I learn how to write electronic books? So that's what inspired me to write, that I can help more than one person at a time, that I can help many people. So that's what inspired me.
Ingeta. The next question I have is, when did you begin writing, and why? Obviously, you gave us the why, but when did you begin writing?
I began writing when I was a younger woman. In my 20s, I would start all these transcripts and never complete them, of course. But it was a way for me, since I am a very private person. I like to stay by myself most of the time. I'm by myself. I don't like a lot of people around me. But it was a way for me to put my thoughts down on paper. Sometime I burn them up. Sometime I would keep them, read them again, tear them up. But it was just a way for me to express what was going on inside of me. So when my granddaughter was born, my first granddaughter was born in 1999. I had just lost my grandmother several years before that. And I thought to myself, I wish my grandmother would have wrote something down to let me know what she was doing in her 20s and 30s. I wish I knew what made her laugh. I wish I knew what made her cry, what inspired her, what hurt her, what was her biggest accomplishment. So all these questions are going on around in my head. I wish I really knew my grandmother. My grandmother died at close to 98. And I always desired, as a young woman, I wish I knew my grandmother. I wish I knew the intimacy of my grandmother. So in 1999, I started writing a letter to my granddaughter. And it was called A Letter to, and I gave her name, because I wanted her to know what I was doing at 15. What made me laugh at 25? What made me cry in my 30s? I wanted her to know personal things about me from my mouth. So she would never have to hear hearsay about me. My granddaughter is 24 years old right now. And of course, we are very close. I teach her a lot. But this book is a personal book to her. And she can share it with her children. And her children can share it with their children. Because one thing about the past, our past is not documented. And when we're growing up, we don't know the questions to ask our parents. We don't know the questions to ask our grandparents. You know, my mother told me one time, I think it was 2000, I can't remember what year it was, 2002, that her father's brother just died. So what? She said, Uncle James was 107. What?
Wow.
How come we don't know these things? Do you know I would have took a trip to Newport News, Virginia, and asked him all kind of questions about my grandfather, about his life. But, I just never thought about it. Everybody knows. She said Uncle James walked the city until he was 107, and he went to sleep one day and transitioned over. Wow. It made me angry inside. That we as a community and we as a Black people, we don't honor, admonish, and inquire about the relatives that are still alive. I was very angry inside. I never expressed my anger, but I was very upset and disappointed that my mother, that was her uncle, her father's brother. She never told us that he was still alive. We were all shocked. So I thought to myself, that will never happen to my grandchildren. I want my grandchildren to know the essence of their grandmother, outside of what their parents know about me. I want them to know me personally. And the way you learn of personal things about someone, they have to document it.
Mm-hmm.
They have to write it down. It has to come from me, not secondhand information.
Mm-hmm.
So that I've been doing that for years, but that's kind of what I did. You know, I always had something on the back burner in a book that I never told anyone. My children don't even know half the things I did. Because when you're raising your children, it's about what? Did you do your homework? Is your room clean? Time for dinner? Don't stay up too late. So you never really get to sit down with your children and talk about intimate things because you're so busy raising them.
Mm-hmm.
But when you become a grandparent, you have a paradigm shift of things that's more important than when you're a young parent. And what was more important to me is that my grandchildren know who I am. Mm-hmm. So I have 13 grandchildren now.
Wow.
My oldest grandchild is 24 and my youngest grandchild is 7 months. So they will have something documented from Mother Bantu. They call me Big Mama in the family, or they call me Mima. Mm-hmm. They will have something documented from me that's my true life experience. That wonderful. They can treasure, they can understand, and they can read and understand. Now I know who my grandmother was because I know this is her life.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Put on paper for me.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, family. You've answered one of the you answered one of the questions. I have a few more questions, Mama. That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Okay.
Wonderful. Wow. Yeah, you knew. She didn't tell you. She didn't tell you. And that's the thing with our families. Family, you know, we when what the enemy has done is he's like I said, he's creating environments for us to feel so suppressed that we are so occupied by unnecessary things. When this individual who has a wealth of information, you say it was 100 and what? 100 and what?
7.
107. Imagine. Wow.
And everyone in Newport News knew him. Everybody knew James Flowers. That was his name. Probably a great man. But we never got to know him, of course, because they lived in Newport News, Virginia. My mom was in an old age. She lived in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I moved to California in 1969. So as a family, we all spread out and everybody's doing their own thing. Yeah. And no one is really, so one time I put a newsletter together for everybody to put their name and their children's birthday. So we can at least, as a family unit, wish the nieces and nephews happy birthday that day. Yeah. Well, you know, it started off nice and people wouldn't contact me. They wouldn't give me the children's name, full name. So, you know, you just say, okay, I'm going to move on to that idea. I thought it was a great idea. But the rest of my family, for something to work, everyone has to be a part.
Exactly. Yes. That's the spirit I'm talking about, Mama. That's the spirit I'm talking about. That's the spirit. There's a spirit. If for those of you who love to read your Bibles, there's a spirit that always comes up in the midst of Baba Mungo's children to disrupt, to divide, to separate, to want to go where you're not supposed to go. There's always that spirit. And there is also a spirit, and I believe, Mama, you were that spirit. You wanted to connect everyone, to go, to utilize divinity, to live within the divinity of Baba Mungu. Okay? That's what it is. When Isaiah KONGO says when two or three gather, the Father has to be there. The Spirit of truth will be present. Because if the spirit of truth is not there, there will be no group. Okay?
There'll be no spirit, absolutely. And you can't just gather together in his name, because if I gather together, you're sovereign.
Mm-hmm.
You're Saddleback KONGO.
Mm-hmm.
So if I gather in my neighbor's George's name, there's no power.
Mm-hmm.
So what name are we gathering in? That's the key. That's the question. You cannot gather in Jesus, the white man's name, expect the spirit of Mama Baba Mungu to be in the presence. So we as Christians, and I have been in the church for as old as I am, I've only been out of the church for 4 years. We cannot gather in someone's name that's not validated by heaven. Yes. The white man, the white Jesus with the blonde hair, blue eyes is not validated by him. So there's thousands and millions of people around the world gathering in his name. If you gather in his name, he will be in the midst. No, he is not in the midst.
Exactly.
Because we're gathered in the counterfeiter's name. Come on now. Yes. Let me calm down, because I'm getting my street voice. Let me calm down.
Your street voice, that's right.
My street voice. When I get out on the streets and start preaching, I am no joke. I'm not out there to play with the enemy, and I'm not out there to cuddle.
That's right.
I'm out there to bring truth.
That's right, Mama.
Receive it or walk away. Either you receive it or walk away. But gathering in his name is a very important thing, because he said we have his name. Yes. We have his name.
Yes.
When they asked Josiah, when are you going to build? When are you going to build your kingdom? He said, I have come not yet, but for the lost sheep of Isolele. I did not come for the whole world.
Yeah. There's a true distinction.
So be careful whose name you are gathering in.
Yes. Yes. It's very, very distinctive. Very, very, it's very clear. And unless and for those of you who worship that white Jesus, the white Jesus belongs in Europe. So go ahead. You rightly so, but just know where the real king is from. Okay, so you have to understand where he's from. Where his lineage is from, because the Bible is very clear. Even when you read the lineages, it's very clear. You're coming from somewhere, right? He comes from somewhere, and he's very clear. He didn't come for the whole world. He's clear. People are the ones who muddy. They make it. They muddy it up. They confuse it. But he's very clear where he came from and who he came for. So let's be clear about that when you gather. And it's about gathering, by the way. Okay? It's about gathering.
Yes. Yeah.
All right? What my Bantu and I are doing here is gathering. It is about gathering.
And we're gathering in the name of Baba Mungu.
Yes. Yes.
Tata Nzambi, Yamazulu.
Yeah.
Not George and not Harry. And not what's his name? The picture of him, Caesar Bourget.
Bourget, Caesar. Caesar.
We're not gathering in the name of Caesar Bourget.
Or George,
because we are the children, or George Washington. We are the children. Let's get this straight. We are the children called by his name.
Yep. Yeah. Definitely, Mama. Definitely.
So you have another question for me?
Yes, I do, Mama. Yes, I do. Yes. Can you tell us about your next book?
Well, the next book I've been writing for quite a while. My son and I, my youngest son, my precious boy, him and I were at the swap meet one year. I think he must have been about 15, 16 years old. And we saw this oil painting. And the lady was selling the oil painting. It was an oil painting about this beautiful young Black boy. He must have been about 6 or 7 years old. He was sitting on a chair, on a step. In the picture, he was sitting on a step, and he had his dungarees. We call them dungarees in Philadelphia. His jeans on, and he had just a T-shirt. I remember it vividly, a striped T-shirt, horizontally striped T-shirt, a little afro, the prettiest face of a Black child I ever saw in my life. And in the picture, a tear was going down his face. And he had a look of distress on his face. And I said, what a beautiful picture. And I watched and I looked at that picture for maybe 30 minutes. We walk around and I'd go back. And I said, well, tell me about the picture. She said, oh, this is an artist, a young Black man that's been put away, incarcerated for life. He will never get out to see his son again. So what he does, they allow him to paint, and he sends his paint out of the prison, and I sell it for him so him and his son can have, money. That's how he's maintaining finances for his wife and children. And so I was so impressed by that painting, I bought the painting. And I looked at the painting. I looked at the painting all the time. It was hanging up in my house, and looked at the painting for a long time. And I thought to myself, I would really like to know the story of this young man that's incarcerated for life and growing up without his father. Well, in the 80s and the 90s in America, it was the biggest time of divorce, separation, single moms. There wasn't too many single dads back then. Big Mama was taking care of the children. So I wanted to know psychologically, what does a child go through without having the presence of his father, not only to be in his life, but to validate him, to encourage him, to push him forward, to educate him. That's all a part of the Black culture. That's what we do. There's a time in the culture of an African boy where the older men take him out to the jungles and teach him how to be a man, teach him how to provide for his family, And I was thinking to myself, so all this is going in my head, man. That's something that we don't do anymore. We don't have fathers a lot of people don't have fathers in their life. When I was growing up in the 50s and 60s, mom and dad was always there. My grandmother, they stayed together. My grandfather, on both sides, they stayed together. So it used to be a time where mothers and fathers stayed together. And one of the reasons that I do believe that we stayed together, because we were going through so much. We only had each other.
That's right.
We were going through so much prejudice, heartache, hardship. We had to stick together. But there came a time in our society where the fathers were leaving the children behind. So I wanted to start interviewing young men. What impact did it have in your life that your father was not in your life? Even if he was in your life, but he worked all the time. Or if he was incarcerated, he wasn't in your life. Or if he got a divorce and now he's remarried, he has a new family. There's a lot of scenarios that the reason why fathers were not in our children's life in the 80s and 90s. So I wanted to capture that story and document it. So I would go around, I was in San Diego at the time, I would go around San Diego and I'd ask my doctors, I asked the policemen on the street, I would ask everybody, did you grow up with your father? A lot of times, more times than not, they say, no, I didn't. So where is your father? Can I get your story? I'm writing a book. I like to document your experience as a young person growing up without your father. What impact do you think it had in your life? I know you're successful now. I talked to a judge. I know you're successful now, but what impact did it have as molding and shaping you without a father in your life?
Mm-hmm.
So I interviewed many, many, many men, and I have one coming out for the women too, because of the father. God gave us father, mother, not mother, not
Mm-hmm.
just father. So I wanted to understand the impact that it had not only on the child, but on our society.
That's right.
So as I began to interview people and document what I was finding, and I would put it in chapters. So I would give each character, the book has 10 characters, and the scenarios is of their life, no one else's life, but what they experience um, um, in their life without their father in their life, without that man, that strong man that Baba Mungu gave us to have as part of our lives. The
Mm-hmm.
father has to be there. You cannot just have women raising children, and you just cannot have men raising children. Baba Mungu gave us a balance, father and mother.
Mm-hmm.
So that book that I'm writing is called Crying for Daddy, and it's just different stories of different men from all walks of life. I've interviewed everyone from all walks of life, and I wanted to know, and I wanted to catch the essence of what it is to grow up without your father's validation, which is very important and what is lacking in our society today. I can tell when a young woman walks down the street and she wasn't influenced by her father. I can
Mm.
tell how a young man carries himself in the street, that he was not impacted or validated by his father. He was validated by the streets,
Mm.
by his friends.
Exactly.
She was validated by the streets, by
Mm-hmm.
the pimp,
Exactly.
by the cruelty of the world. So
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to put together. I'm putting together a series of just the experience and the end results. Some have happy endings. Some of my stories have happy endings, and
Mm-hmm.
some of them, the realization of the ending is not happy. But
Mm.
it's the story of what men went through, the stories that they told me. So I don't go stories of what they told me. I mix it up,
Mm.
change the names. But the narrative is the same. Without
Yes.
our fathers in our life, we are messed up,
Yeah.
male and female.
Mm-hmm. That's the way it works. That's the way it works, Mama.
That's the way it works. So that's the next book coming out, you know.
Yeah.
Um, I just about have all my characters together. I'm doing the editing right now. And so that's going to be one of the powerful books that I hope get into the prisons
Mm-hmm.
where people can relate
That's
and
right.
have something to understand and read about and know the end result that we have an ultimate father. He's Baba
Mm-hmm.
Mungu. And he
Mm-hmm.
said he would never leave us or forsake us,
That's right.
even though we might not have an earthly father that
Mm-hmm.
impacts our life. Tata the zombie, he will gather the boys together and validate them himself.
That's right.
He will gather the girls together and validate them himself
Mm-hmm.
because he's our father. He is our heavenly father.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that's the next book that's coming out. And that's the reason why I wrote it. I'm writing it because it's something that it was impactful to me. And it started from just a oil painting that I saw on the street.
Wonderful, Mama. Wonderful. Wonderful. Yes, family. Yes. Talents. Gifts. That's one of the gifts the Father has given her, That's because there's many dimensions to you, Mama. Right? So there are many dimensions to us as a people. And we have to explore it exploit those dimensions, not for the negative aspects, but of the positive aspects of us. Right?
The solutions.
Yes.
The solutions.
Mm-hmm. Solutions. That's right. Yes. So then the next question, Mama, who have you inspired to take up writing?
Well, I also teach people if they want to write. I will teach them how to write, whether they want to write a hardback book, we call it, or they want to write a electronic book. If you have something you need to say, if you have something that is pressing for you to expose or to say, then you can contact me and I will show you from point A to point F how to do it, format it, write it, how to get it approved, how to do the research for your material. No matter what the book is, you can do research and how to publish it.
That's right. That's right. Yes.
Because we're here for not for ourselves, but we're here to help one another. We're here to help one another. We are. And I encourage my son, so you're an author. My youngest son, he's a children's book author. He's also writing a series of books for children that something that we don't talk about as a community, their emotional health. So his children's books are very insightful, and it talks about, some of the things that we go to as a child. So I encourage him, since your mom's an author, you're now an author with 4 books published, teach your daughter how to become an author. Because your daughter is very imaginative.
Yes.
Have her to put the most simple story of her new turtle. Teach her to put it down on paper and start to publish your daughter's stories of her life in her words, in her young mind.
That's right.
So that she become an author. She can become an author at 11 years old, 12 years old.
That's right. That's right.
So we take our gifts and we pass our gifts down to the next generation. We just don't sit on our gifts, but our gift was given to us for the masses.
That's right.
For our people. So if you want to learn how to publish something you always wanted to write, and I talk to people, they say, I've always wanted to write a book. Well, the only thing that stops you is you.
That's right. Yeah, let me add to that, Mama. Let me add to that. The only thing that stops you is you, but with the program that was installed in you. Okay? Because you see, what happens is if you live within an environment, that environment, it's going to influence you, and that becomes a program. Right? So you need a lot of positive programming, right? So as a Muntu, Bantu, watoto ya Mungu, the children of Tata Nzambe, we have to reprogram ourselves to the ways our ancestors live life here. Okay? Because the way we live life now is not the ways of our ancestors. Okay? Because remember, our ancestors were the children of Tata Nzambe. They were living in accordance to Baba Mungu's laws and commandments. It was when they came and interrupted our civilization, then we took on upon. Some of us were volunteer. Some of us volunteered and went to the ways of the Kariampemba. Okay? But most of us, we didn't live life that way. It was forced. It was beaten into submission for most of our people. So some of us, these fears about, hell, this and that, those things came from the enemy. They put fears. They demonized your spiritual ways of living to a point where when you acknowledge the ways your ancestors were living, you say, oh, that's demonic. Oh, yeah. Mama, do you know how many people, do you know the reaction we had when we did that recording, the video on ancestral visitations? Do you know how many?
I got emails. We don't speak to the dead.
We don't speak to the dead.
Hopefully you won't speak to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my question is, who told you that the spirit dies? Who told you that? Who told you that? Where are you getting this information from? That's what I want to know. You need to go back and find out who told you that and where are you getting this information from?
Yeah.
Because the Bible that you read said that he's a God of the living.
That's right.
Not of the dead. And it says Abraham lived to be a great old age, and his fathers received him.
Yes.
Who are his fathers, his ancestors?
That's right. He was gathered with his ancestors.
You can battle out of your ignorance if you want to, but I will not be a part of your ignorance.
That's right, Mama. Come on.
I will not.
Yeah.
Because if you want to find out the truth, ask him to show you the truth. And he will not. He said he will not give you a rock if you ask for some bread.
Yeah.
So I know the pushback we got, but you know what? If you don't get pushback, then you're going the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? If you don't get pushback, then you're going the wrong way. You are going along with the enemy. I'm not here in my 70s to be no one's friend. I don't care if you like me, dislike me, love me, not love me. I have a message, an assignment that I'm going to do that honors him, that pleases him. Whether you like it or not, I will not be quiet. So you can take it like my mother says, you can take it or lump it.
Take it or lump it?
Take it or lump it. Because the righteousness that we have to walk in and the righteousness we have to preach will go against the grain. And it's supposed to go against the grain because he said that we need to push towards the mark of the high calling of Baba Mu. So we're pushing towards the mark. Guess what? The wind is in our face.
Come on, Mama. Come on.
And we're going against the standards of living. We're going against wrong thinking. We're going against the lies that have been told us. So he said, push. I got you. Push. I got you. You tell my truth. I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
So do I have any fear? He hasn't given me the spirit of fear.
But
He's given me sound mind.
Mm-hmm.
He's given me love for my brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm. And the spirit of
So he
power.
said, don't look to the left, and the spirit of power.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, don't look to the left. Don't look to the right. What did he say? Keep your eyes on me.
Mm-hmm.
Because the enemy is going to fight us tooth and nail when we start talking truth. And those who don't have an understanding, they will fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
Not by my power, by his power. Because now you're going against his truth.
Mm-hmm.
And he will not tolerate you going against his truth for much longer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Mama, the question the next question I have pretty much answers the question that I had was, why do you think writing is important? You already said it. You already answered it. You answered it by saying that you were not able, when you didn't meet your uncle, I am certain that he had so much information.
Imagine.
You know?
Imagine.
You know? So
imagine. And my uncle James, I'm gonna say this really quick. My uncle James, his father was a Mzungu, a slave master.
Mm. Mm.
My mom's great grandfather was a slave master.
Mm. Mm. He lived to 107, family. He lived to 107. So he had so much information, so many things that you needed to connect, you know, and just the way you are, Mama, I know that you would have gotten so much information, you know, but again,
I would have documented the truth of our family and our lineage.
Yes.
From the person who lived it. From the person who lived it. From the person who lived it. But you know what? They left me, my ancestors left a fire in me. Thank you, Grandma. Thank you, Grandpa. Thank you, great-grandma. Thank you, great-great-grandmother. And the fathers before them. And the fathers before them. Thank you.
Yes.
For giving me something which they always called me odd. Now I embrace the word odd. I am odd. I'm not like everyone else. I don't follow everyone. I will listen to you for a while, listen to your teaching for a while. I will listen, but all the time I'm praying, show me if this is correct. Don't lead me the wrong way. Yes. Because I am not a follower. I am a leader. In my brain is a leader. So I follow very few people online. I befriend very few people in my life. My inner circle is very small on purpose. Because if you get in, that means you were sent.
That's right. That's right. Oh.
And if you slip in, you will be taken out.
Yes. So
remove.
Mama, we've got one of our friends online, Sister WK. Okay, she says, I love you, beautiful Queen Mama Bantu. I always enjoy listening to you. You always tell it the way it is. Truth. Brother Silverback, thank you for your honesty. Thank you, Sister Wilda. Thank you for joining our Narrowcast, which is live. The first time we're doing this live, you know? And Sister Wilda is one of the people that will be joining the Narrowcast, and we're working up something together as well. So she would be
beautiful.
Yes. Wonderful. Yes, Mama. This is wonderful. This is wonderful. You know, family. We you know, they say when an elder passes, you know, within our traditions, when an elder passes, we're missing someone who had they're like a library. Like a library has been burned down, you know? So they are a people that hold so much information. This is why we cherish our elders back home on a continent. If you are a Muntu, you know what I'm talking about. Here in the West, they've got you programmed to think youth is good. Oh, I'm only 20-something. Nobody should look to a 20-something-year-old for anything.
That's right.
Okay? We don't look for 20-something-year-old to tell me about the ways of our ancestors. I look for someone who's older. The older, the better. At 107, I know he had so much information. We sit around here playing games.
Yes. And that's why I seek out elders. I want to sit down with elders and talk to the elders.
Yeah,
so
Mama.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Mm.
So this has been powerful. It's been wonderful. I'm here in Kenya. I'm sitting at my window. Matter of fact, my desk is at my window, and I'm looking at the beautiful land of Africa and my beautiful son, Silverback KONGO in America. And we have connected both continents together as his children. And
Yes.
that's a powerful thing. That's a very powerful thing, that my voice is being resonated here in Kenya, and your voice is being resonated here in Kenya, also sitting at my table with you, so far away, but sitting at my table with me. And if you were here, I would share my mango with you.
Oh, yes. That's one of my favorite fruits, by the way.
Me too. Me too. Me too. Me too.
Yes.
Me too. So yeah.
Yeah. But I have one more question, Mama, before we close out. I've got one more question. And this question is, which writers have inspired you? Which writers? Which writers as you were growing up?
Toni Morrison,
Mm.
one of my great writers.
Mm-hmm.
I always loved her stories. I always loved her presence.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was the one that I would cuddle up with and want to be like, especially when she started growing out her locks.
Mm-hmm.
I was just in love with my African heritage. Always been in love with my African heritage, and those were that was one of the women. And then Maya Angelou was one of my heroes of a Black mom. Reading her books and her poems always made me know that there was something, a kindring spirit in me from these older women. I just knew it. I didn't know how to explain it, but I knew that I was a kindring spirit of them, just by the things that they said, how they expressed themselves, how they taught. So those are the two main women that has impacted my life, as far as being a writer and expressing myself in a true and honest way, like they did. And so those two, they impacted me more than anyone else. Because I've never, I didn't like to read horrors or psychological things that makes my heart race, because it disturbed my peace. And I was very, very cautious about what I watched, so it would not disturb my peace. You know, I never looked at horror movies with Freddy Krueger, none of that stuff, because it would disturb my peace.
Yes.
And I coveted my peace. I wanted to be peaceful. You know, my son would get upset with me because he said, "You drive around town, didn't you just see that guy cut you off?" I said, "Look, let me tell you something. That person right there will be in my life for what, 3-4 seconds? They're not taking my peace. Let them go. If they want to cut me off, let them cut me off." Because if I interact with them, then they're taking something from me. They're going on about their life. And here I am, altered, mad, angry. So I protect my peace. And it's very important, protect my peace, and I give out peace.
That's right.
So I never don't even look at horror stuff on TV. My children will tell you, "Oh, she's not going to watch this." I used to tell my children, "Go and check out the movie for me and tell me if I would like it." And they say, "No, Mom, you wouldn't like it. Too much violence, too much this, too much life." You would lie. I said, "Thank you. I'll make sure that I will not buy a ticket to go see that."
Yeah.
So those are my writers. And that's one of the reasons why I was pulled to them two women, because I've always looked for women, Black women, that would inspire me.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
That stay true to themselves. That stay true to themselves. Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Wonderful. Well, family, this is an introduction to Mama Bantu. Expect to get some more information on her many books. Expect to see more of these narrowcasts, because we're going to break down all of her books. Okay, we're going to break down all of her books, and I look forward to you guys supporting her. I look forward to you guys partnering up with her. I look forward for you to ask her many questions, because she's here. She's got a lot of information. Very, very wise. Lived a professional life. She's got so much to give to you, your children, and your grandkids, because she has that. Okay, she has that in her life, and I personally look forward to work with every person. I want to stretch out your creativity. I want your creativity to be front and center for all the other Bantus to see and to connect, right? So that's my path. So if your path is to glorify Baba Mungu, I would definitely connect with you. Okay? It's just a matter of time. It's a matter of time. This is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and exciting and exciting. And we were Tatan Zambi didn't create us to be servants unto inferior beings. Then I'm Muntu.
That's right.
Okay?
That's true.
He created us to rule over these beings. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the divinity within you to be expressed. So when we talk about ancestors visitations, I'm talking about us connecting with people who now know, if they were recently just transitioned, but if they were serving Baba Mungu in the times when our civilization was ruling this world, those are the ancestors I want you to connect to. Those who knew how to run this earth. Okay? So for those who find comfort and find security in these parasitic beings, guess what? That time is up. Okay? So you're going to be afraid. You're going to be afraid. You're going to be very afraid. But for those who look to the ways of our ancestors, because they worshipped our Father. How do we know? Because those parasitic beings wrote about it. They left evidence. So you can be ignorant all you want. You can dismiss. And Mama, trust me, I've been dismissed. It took a white man to tell, by the way, a white man told me, he says, people have been dismissing you. Yeah. You're going to see, family. We're going to see.
You'll see.
You'll see.
The many that are called, few are chosen.
Mm-hmm.
We are chosen. People don't like those who are chosen.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's why most of the chosen children are secluded.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a lot of friends. We just don't, because people think we're odd. Where's that coming from? We need to stay away from him. That's fine. That's fine. Mm-hmm. Because when he gathered his people and you're on the other side watching us being gathered, you're going to say to yourself, I should have listened. Because, a lot of times we say, I need help here, and I need a financial breakthrough, and I need this to happen. Well, Baba Mughal said, I sent you a boat and you wouldn't get in.
Wow.
I sent you an airplane
Mm-hmm.
and you wouldn't get on board.
Mm-hmm.
I sent you a donkey. You beat the donkey.
Mm. Mm.
So every time you asked me to help you, I sent help your way and you rejected my help.
That's
because
right.
my help did not look like you thought help should look like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have to put on our spiritual eyeglasses and test the spirits, continue to seek truth, and he will not give you a rock. He will give you a bread. He will give you the truth. It will settle in your spirit that this is the truth.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't settle into your spirit that this is the truth, that means you're going the wrong way. You're going the opposite way.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Yeah, mama. Yeah, family. You know, we've got to start operating as one. But
as one.
As one. But in a community. Those are the wishes of the Father. The Father wants his children to gather. And when we gather, he gave us all talents, gifts. Okay? Some were pastors, some were prophets, and there are many different prophets. The prophet that you know today is one that brings you a message. No, there were prophets who did healing. There were many prophets, many different prophets. Okay? There are prophets who they do readings. Right? When they take your hand and start reading your hand, hey, that's a prophet. That's prophets. They can read you, read your lineage, read what you're going to be doing in the future. We have people with many, many spiritual gifts. But if you read the scriptures, it tells you, it says he gave some more gifts to work the iron, to be iron workers. They knew how to fashion iron. Right? The builders. Some of these masons that you know about, because, the Kariampemba, they went and stole our sciences and start calling them all different names. But yes, those masons in the scriptures, they were doing something different. Okay? The builders. Whatever science, whatever spiritual science it is, you were called. Most of us were called. Okay? So, but as a collective, when we come together, we're going to come together and display the power of the Father. That's how we worship. Okay? We display our gifts. One hand washes the other hand.
Yes, yes. So true, so true, so true. I've been waiting all of my life for you shall do greater things than I. I've been waiting for it all my life, all my church life. Where are the great things that Isaiah did that we're supposed to be experiencing? I've never seen anybody in the church raise anybody from the dead. I've never seen anybody in the church open the blind eyes. I've never seen anyone in the church, to do these great things that Isaiah did as he walked the streets of Africa. I've never seen it. They want you to believe something that you've never seen. So they say, Jesus said the greater things we shall do than he did. And I'm sitting there as a young girl then saying, well, where is it? Where are the greater things? Where are the greater things? No one would answer me because there was no evidence, because they did not know him.
Yes. Yes.
He said, depart from me. I never knew you.
Yeah.
I never knew you. Depart from me. Thy who work iniquity.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it says?
Yes. The workers of
That's
iniquity.
what it says.
The workers of iniquity.
The workers of iniquity.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So we have to realize that not everyone is sent by him. We have tares among the camp, the wheat and the tares, that have infiltrated our space with lies, with untruths, with their own story. The worst thing that happened to Africa is our narrative is given to us by the white man. You can't tell me about my life in Philadelphia, growing up in Philadelphia, because one, you weren't there. Two, you didn't walk in my shoes. So how can you tell my narrative? And this is what the white man did, the colonizers did when they got to Africa. They took our story, changed our story, manipulated it. I'm not going to say change it because the Bible still holds truth, but everything in the Bible is not true. So they manipulated our story and gave us back our own story through their eyes, through their narrative. That's why I never seen greater things than Uzziah did in the church. Because we were calling on George.
Washington.
Washington. Or Columbus. You know he discovered America, don't you? If you didn't know it, you need to go back to history class. We were calling on the wrong God. We were calling on the God of our enemy.
Yeah.
You know, Black people are the only culture in the world that have turned their backs on their God. I'm talking about their ancient God.
That's right.
We have gone to the Christian God. We have gone to the Muslim God. We have gone to Buddha. We have gone to the Indian God. We have gone to the Chinese, Japanese God. And not one of them has ever come to Africa and say, we honor your God, African man.
Yes.
Who does that? But here we are chasing after other gods. We will never get nothing from Baba Mungu chasing after Harry, George, Alex, or Bob.
Yeah.
His name is Baba Mungu. He is Tata Zambi. Guy. He is a God of Abraham. Abraham didn't call Indian God. Abraham didn't call on a Chinese God. He didn't call on the Christian God. He did not call on the Muslim God.
Yeah.
He called on the God of his father.
Yeah. That's right. Very, very, very true.
All liars will be exposed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes, family. Yes, 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 yes. So, family, this is the part where I have to remind you. Okay? This is the part where I have to remind you. But before I go there, when we say their gods and our God, there is a difference. Okay? When we say our God, okay? Now, if your God is not, if your God is not real in your life, there will be no power displayed in your life. Right? So you get what I'm saying, Mama, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely right? Correct.
Now, their God performs power in their lives. Okay? But their God is not an eternal God. There's a difference.
There's a difference. There's a difference.
So their God fulfills, their God performs in this life, their reward, like Isaiah says, they how the scripture goes. I gotta look it up, man. What I'm saying is this, family. Your God is an eternal God. Muntu, Bantu. Mungu wetu is an eternal God. There is no end. But their God, though they display power in this life, in their life, there is a limit to their God. Okay? So when Baba Mungu sent Moses to Pharaoh, or Baba Mungu was trying to tell Pharaoh, is that there is...
Come on now.
There is a God. He's telling them, okay, you know of a God. Okay, great. You know of a God. He sent his magicians. He brought whatever to show power. But in that illustration, what the father was telling Pharaoh is that there is a God of all gods. So when those magicians did the same trick of throwing their staff to the ground and turning into snake, but Moses displayed power. He says, okay, you can do that. I can do the same thing. But guess what? My snake is going to eat your snake. Okay? So family, that's what it is. If you are a Muntu, if you belong to the Father, and you're calling upon a false God, there will be no power displayed in your life. You're going to be the same place you've been till you go meet the Father, and the Father will tell you, who are you? I never knew you. Okay? Because you didn't acknowledge him. You didn't acknowledge him. If you live within your divinity, that's when you're going to see power. Okay? And by the way, shalom to Amalia. I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. Amalia Israel. She says, shalom, I very much enjoy and profited from this meaningful teaching. Thank you, Mama Amalia. Thank you very much. We hope that you appreciate the Narrowcast. We thank you for coming and for commenting. And I know she came for you, Mama Bantu. She came to hear you. Okay? Well, family, if you have been watching and you found this message meaningful, I would like for you to go ahead, family, subscribe. Okay? If this has been meaningful to you, please subscribe. And then also, I would like for you to go ahead and click the like button, right? Because it helps the algorithm. It helps us to get our message far and wide. Okay, family? And once you've done that, you do what Sister Wilda and Sister Amalia have done. Amalia, I am butchering her name. Forgive me, Mama. Okay? I also please like the content. If the content's been if it's been valuable to you, please do click the like button. Okay, and then we would like for you to also do what the many other viewers have done, the two other sisters have done. Please go ahead and comment. Comment on this Narrowcast. For those of you who would come later and watch the Narrowcast. Okay, family?
Yes.
Mama Bantu, I would like for us to go ahead and give our finishing thoughts, our last thoughts. Okay, so if you
Yes. Mm-hmm.
If you have any last thoughts, Mama, it will be wonderful.
My last thoughts is this. Baba Mungu loves you. He loves his children.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible says that the hearts of the fathers will turn to the hearts of the sons and daughters. He is turning his heart to us right now. Mm-hmm. He's gathering us, saying, come back home, come back to me. The Bible says that he's multi-breasted. Come back and let me pull you close to me. Mm-hmm. Those who have an ear, let them hear what the Spirit is saying to them. Those who have eyes, let them see into the spiritual realm and no longer in things that are temporal, mm-hmm. but things that are eternal. Because we are loved. He said he loved us first. Mm-hmm. He said he would gather his children. So if you're his child, you will not only embrace the gathering, but there's a joy that will come over you, mm-hmm. because he's chosen to gather you. And if you stiff-necked, hard-head, mm-hmm. then that's your choice. Because he said, I choose you this day. Mm-hmm. Blessing or cursing. Yes. Choose you this day. So he gave us a will to choose. Mm-hmm. He said, choose life or death. And that has become a law. So when you come to him crying, saying, oh, I didn't know, I didn't believe what they were saying. He said, my son, my daughter, I allowed you to make a choice. Mm-hmm. So make a choice to turn to him, mm-hmm. by asking him, is this the right way? Are they telling the truth? What they're saying, is it for real? And he will give you the answer. Why? Because he loves us. We are his children. We are made in his image. Mm-hmm. And we are, Isolele, we are the chosen people. We are the people of the book, mm-hmm. not the altered book, but the people of the book. All mm-hmm. blessings to everyone. And I just thank you, Silverback, for inviting me here. I want to make a comment on your graphics. They're beautiful. I love your graphics.
Thank you, Mama.
You did a good job on that. I'm very proud of you for that.
Thank you,
those
Mama.
are my last words. You know, I am gathering my children, just like I gave birth to some children, and some children I gave spiritual birth to. I'm gathering them, but I'm not going to force them.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very, very true, Mama. Thank you
I
so
will
much.
love them. I will love them, but I won't force them.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they have free will. They have free will.
They have free will.
Yes. Mama Amalea Israel, she said, Mama Bantu, you must connect with Queen Mother Dashnaba, also in Kenya. So the Queen Mother Dashanaba. I know
I will do it.
Yes, yes. So you're
I
gonna
will do it.
definitely, definitely. Family, thank you for coming. Thank you, Mama Amalia and my sister, Sister Wildad. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for participating, and for everyone else who would watch this message. I ask that Baba Mungu, if you are a child of Baba Mungu, I ask that the Father bless you. Okay, akubarikia. All right.
Yeah.
Namulomba akubarikia. Huh?
Akubarikia.
Because when you are blessed, right? When you are blessed by the Father, you will do good things for all Baba Mungu's children. There's no jealousy. There's no contention, right? There's no friction. So when you belong, no competition. There is no competition. No such thing as competition.
That's it.
You either live within your divinity or you don't. You can't in the kingdom of Baba Mungu, you can't be great at the expense of another. That's a problem.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay? If I have something that you want, just say, ask. Because when you have something that I want, oh, you better believe I'm first to ask. I come to people. I ask. Okay? Or if I sense that we have something, and this is what I'm saying, family. We need to work together. Because if you think you are one individual, if you think that you are doing things on your own, the Father is not going to bless that. That's not the way the Father works. If you want to be the head honcho, yes. If you have the ability, you have the skills, I'm going to look to you. Show me. But we can't be on top of each other to embarrass one another, to look down on people, to demean people. The Father is not going to bless you. That's not what the Father blesses. The Father doesn't bless those who look down on people, those who demean. The Father doesn't bless that. So if you learn that from the false children of Baba Mungu, yes, you're most likely where you belong. Okay? Now, when I say we have to work together, we don't have a choice any longer, family.
No, we don't. We have to. The time is up. We have to come together.
The time is up.
We've been divided long enough. I'm tired.
The time is up. If you think that you're gonna if you think that the enemy is gonna give you something you're gonna hold over them, because they're very competitive. They are very competitive. Because in their kingdom, they have to be on top of you in order for them to be, quote unquote, successful, to be great. They gotta hold it over you. They have to shame you. That's how they work in their kingdom. The kingdom of Shaitani is a kingdom of oppression. There is no peace, there is no love, there's only cruelty. Okay? So family, wherever you are on a continent or in the diaspora, seek and look for the ways of our ancestors. Not the recent ancestors who live life where they remembered that they were being oppressed. No. We're looking for those ancestors that walked the earth and they knew the ways of our Father. Call upon those ancestors when you're closing your eyes, when you're praying. Call upon those ancestors. It says, ancestors, come in my midst. Ancestors, come and commune in my home. Those of you who have walked in accordance to Baba Mungu, call upon those ancestors. Not the ones who were being oppressed by the enemy, who were in bondage. I'm not saying that some of our ancestors who were in bondage were well aware of the Father. They still practice our spiritual science. Okay? Call upon them. If you don't know them by name, just call upon them. Call upon those who walked and those who were obedient to the Father. All right? Because they will come if you call upon them. So family, I thank you for gathering with us. Thank you for those of you who commented, those of you who came. We thank you. We know the time is now, okay? The only way for us to transform, okay, the only way for us to see the power of Baba Mungu is when we start to work together. When we don't work together, the Father is not going to work for us. Okay? So open up, for those of you who like to read the book, go into your Bible and look about who the Father is talking to. He's not talking to one individual. The one individual he's talking to is most likely a prophet, a seer, a king, who were those who had the authority to lead the collective. But even when the Father spoke to one of them had to go to his people. And the Father is all about his people. You understand? It's all about his people. Yes, most of you look to those kings and, you look to those prophets and you look for that. No. The Father wants his people collectively to be on one accord. That's what the Father wants.
Yes. That's what he wants.
So with that, family, I ask Baba Mungu to bless your every foot, every step, to bless all your endeavors, your ventures, to bless your grandchildren, to bless your children, to bless all of our ancestors, Mankambo yetu, those who have passed, those who have transitioned. We still pray for them. Okay? If they're not dead, you can still pray for them. Because they're still going into what? There are levels. Okay? Paul says he was caught up on the third heaven. Meaning, that's where he worked. That's where he knows the Father, on the third, the levels.
Yes.
Okay? So, family, look to work with one another. Look for the best in your people. And those whom you think, those your spirit tells you are no good, distance yourself from them. Because that's the season we are in. The season that we are in is a season of separation.
Separation.
There are going to be those who worship the Father and those who worship Shetani, unfortunately. Okay, and I'm not talking about the whole world. I'm talking about Tatan Zambi's children. We have disobedient spirits in our midst, family. Who walk around you. They are disobedient.
Whew.
It's easy to look at that white man and say, yes, those people. By the way, there are some good white people. Okay? But their God, their God is you, Muntu. You are their God. Okay? So if you go to those Catholic, when you go to that Catholic library over there, what do you call them? The Catholic Church, when they go and pray to what?
The diocese?
Yeah, when you go to the church, to those fixtures, they still worship. They worship you. They worship you, Muntu, in secret. Okay, because they have an agenda, but they are so messed up in the mind. They are so confused because that's the way Satan keeps them. He keeps them in a delusion where they don't know right or wrong. They don't know what is right, what's wrong. They don't know. Okay? Some people think that they know. They don't know. What they know is the tricks of Shaitani. Okay? They're being led by Shaitani. So they do not know the mysteries of the Father. Shaitani was dismissed. He was removed from the Father. Okay? So he has no power. All he has is tricks.
Yeah.
Okay? So
all he has is tricks.
he has his tricks. He has no dominion over you whatsoever. Now, if you do not know the ways of the Father, he's going to trick you. He's going to lie to you. He's going to send you to where he wants to send you. Okay? He's a disobedient spirit.
Yes.
Yes. So family, thank you, Mama Bantu. Thank you.
Thank you. Asante sana, karibu sana.
Mm.